Hello everyone, I am Sikandar Abu Rakib. In my last video tutorial series, I worked with Node.js auth application using Passport Local. I used here Passport Local strategy and I used username, password or email and password. Today I am going to start a new video tutorial series named Node.js authentication app with passport-jwt. If I go to the search JWT, I will find here. This is the GitHub page of passport JWT. JWT means Jsonwebtoken. So a passport strategy for authenticating with a Jsonwebtoken. So I am going to use this JWT in my project. Okay, I am going to my project folder and going to create project file, make directory node auth pass jwt. I am switching to my folder cd node auth pass jwt and I am going to create the server.js file and I am going to init the project by using npm init description, no need, entry point, test command, keywords, author Sikandar Abu Rakib and yes. Okay, here I opened my project into a text editor, Sublime Text, and here is my command window of my project. So I can see my package.json file here. Now I'm going to create some folder by using make directory command, config, models and routes, and I am switching to routes and I am going to create routes.js file and I am coming back from the routes folder and again I am switching to models folder and I am going to create user.js file and again I am coming back from models folder and again I am going to config folder and I am creating a database file, database.js configuration file, and also I am going to create passport.js file and I am going out from this folder. Okay, I'm checking these two, this user.js and router. Okay, now I am going to package.json file and I am going to write the dependencies that I will require for my project. Here I will need bigcrypt.js for making hash of my password and then a body parser for getting the request body and course for cross origin platform, and I need express and JSON web token. I need Mongoose as a NoSQL database and Morgan, I like it very much to get the log out of my process, and obviously I will require the passport and passport JWT modules. Okay, I am going to my command window and going to install all of these packages by using npm install save. Okay, so it is going to install, so it will take a bit time. For the interest of time, I am going to pause the video and I'll be back. Yes, it is installed, so I am going to check node modules. Yes, it is installed. Now I am going to config folder and within this folder I am going to database.js file and here I am going to write module exports is equal to one array, and the properties of this array I am writing db and MongoDB localhost :27017. We know MongoDB uses this port number and slash users or document name. And another property of this object secret and I'm giving my name. Okay, now I am going to user.js file, which is within the models folder, and here I am declaring var mongos is equal to require mongos, and var config is equal to require dot dot slash config slash database. We'll get the database properties from here. And now var bcrypt is equal to require bcrypt js. And now I am going to declare my user schema. Var user schema is equal to mongo's schema, and within this schema I am going to write email and password, and type property is string, and required true, and unique means we don't allow the MongoDB to save the duplicate. That's why we are using unique field. Here also type string, and it is also required. Okay, now exports, it will make available our user object outside of this file, mongos dot model, and here the model name and our schema name. In our case it is user schema. Okay, I'm enlarging the screen a bit. Okay, now I am going to write some methods. Module exports dot get user id. Get user is equal to anonymous function, and within this function I am going to use id as a parameter and callback cv as a callback, and I am going to use user model dot find by id, and I am passing id as a parameter and callback here. Okay, I'm copying the function, and I'm going to create another function, get user by email, and here I am using email instead of id, and here I am using find one, and instead of id I am using one object that is called email. Okay, and I'm creating another method which is called create user, and here I am passing the parameter as new user, and obviously the callback, and I am writing bcrypt dot gen salt. In our last video tutorial series about Node.js authentication related to passport local strategy, I tried to explain how to use bcrypt.js into the project, and if you like you can watch those videos to understand in detail how to use the bcrypt module. into the project. Okay, now bcrypt Jsalt, and first parameter will be number, and then anonymous function, and the parameter of the function will be error and salt. And within this block of code, I am going to write another bcrypt method, which is called bcrypt dot hash. Hash is making our password with the encrypted hash value. So within this method, we need to pass the new user password and salt and callback function, and obviously error and hash. And if error, then throw error, otherwise new user dot password is equal to hash, and new user dot save callback. Okay, now the last method here I am going to write is compare password. Compare password. Okay, here I am writing my password and hash and callback. Okay, and here I am going to use bcrypt dot compare. It is a method of bcrypt module, and the parameter should be my password and hash and anonymous function. Function error or is match, and if error, throw error, otherwise callback, null, and is match. Okay, I'm going to save it. I'm minimizing the screen and expanding my editor. I am copying this section of code from here and going back to my passport.js file and pasting it here. I'm also writing var user require models user, and here is config, here is config, and here is database, and I am changing here config.secret. I'm getting this property from here, and I don't need these two lines. Okay, here I am going to write get user by id, and I need to change here doc underscore id, because if we console out the payload, we will see to get the id we will have to go through this doc.id hierarchy, otherwise we will not get the ID that will be saved into our MongoDB NoSQL database. I am going to save it here. Now I am going to the server file and I am going to main code of the server.js file. I am starting with var express is equal to require express and body parser is equal to require body parser and app is equal to express method. Okay, now var Morgan is equal to require Morgan and mongoose require mongoose and course require course and passport and going to save it. Now var config require config database and var port is equal to process dot env dot port 3000 and mongoose dot connect first parameter will be config dot db and one object use mongo client true and mongoose dot promise is equal to global promise and require config slash passport and we want to send the passport variable. Now I am going to write some middlewares app dot use. Okay, first of all I am writing body parser dot json, then body parser dot url encoded extended true, then Morgan development environment and course and passport dot initialize and also passport session and require routes our file is routes. Okay, routes and I'm going to pass to parameter app and passport. Okay, and last of all app dot listen and here is the port and some anonymous function console log server is running on port number 3000. Okay, this much for today. I think this is the good point to stop. In my next video, I will write the routes, and after that I will test my API by the client tools Postman. So I will see you in the next tutorial.